We're continuing the Maimer Shlach Lecha Anashim from Shabbos Mevorchim Tammuz, Shabbos Parshas Shlach Tafshin Yud Aleph. The Maimer speaks about the greatness of mitzvahs maisius, of practical mitzvahs, and in order to explain it, we first preface the whole idea of the Meraglim that seemingly it was done with the choice of Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu did choose. It was L'daitcha. And seemingly it doesn't make sense. There's no real need for Meraglim, for spies in the simple sense, because it was a whole miraculous thing. The entry to Eretz Yisrael, and especially had it been then, it would have been totally miraculous. And so to explain it, we're explaining the idea of what happened when the Jewish people came into Eretz Yisrael. The advantage that they had over when they were in the Midbar was the concept of practical mitzvahs. So in explaining this, the Rebbe begins by first explaining the idea of the Shoir Habar and the Levyasan. And we know that we're promised that in the time of Mashiach there will be two great animals that have been prepared and set aside already from Sheishis Yimei Bereishis. One is the Shoir Habar, the great massive ox, which Shoir we know is the king of all animals. An ox is the king of animals. Then there's the Levyasan, the great massive whale, which is so huge that Hashem made sure that there shouldn't be male and female, because otherwise the world wouldn't be able to exist if they would continue to reproduce. What are these Shoir Habar and Levyasan that we say that when Mashiach comes, the tzaddikim will witness the fight or the wrestling match between the Shoir Habar and Levyasan? What is this all about? So let's understand first of all a general idea. A wrestling match, when a person witnesses a circus, two animals fighting, what's the great pleasure that there is in it? The person is able to watch the victory, the winner, the loser, etc. It's something which is exciting. Obviously with tzaddikim it's something deeper. The excitement that there is the constant struggle that there is between good and evil. Now this struggle is happening, but it's hidden. We don't see in a revealed way what's happening. When Mashiach comes, everything will be uncovered, everything will be revealed. We'll be able to see clearly the entire struggle that had taken place the whole time. And more than that, the pleasure that's caused above to Hashem through the avodah of the tzaddikim of overpowering the bad. And the avodah of tzaddikim of elevating the world and transforming the world. What is the idea of this? And what's the special pleasure that there is in watching it? So we know that in addition to the concept of the avodah of good and bad that's being revealed, there is also two types of manners in the avodah of tzaddikim themselves. And they are the avodah of tzaddikim that comes in a way of Shoir Habar, and the avodah of tzaddikim that comes in a way of Levyasan. What's a Shoir Habar? The Shoir, as we said, is the king of animals. The animal is the nefesh habamis, the animal soul, the physical material world that's down here. But the word Shoir Habar means the clarity. Bar is from the word boirer, chosen, birurim, taking the world, the Shoir, the animal and the animalistic, the material world, and elevating and refining and elevating the sparks of it, bringing it up to its true source, causing the physicality and the material of the world, the matter of the world, to be able to realize and recognize its true essence. And similar to what we know and what we've mentioned on previous occasions, what the Alter Rebbe writes in Tanya, that when Yitzchak said to Yaakov, "Aseli mat'amim," to Esav, but really to Yaakov, "Aseli mat'amim kasher ahavti," make for me mat'amim, make for me two types of good, delicious food. It's the maimer of the Shechina to Klolus Banel. It's the Shechina speaking to its children, to the Jewish people, and saying that there's two types of good, delicious food that the Shechina enjoys, so to speak. Just as a person enjoys two types of food, either a person enjoys sweet food, or salty and spicy, or even bitter food that's spiced properly and in a way that's an even greater enjoyment. And in the same manner, there's an enjoyment that the Shekhinah has, that Hashem has, when a person does good things. He's drawing down spiritual light. He's doing the mitzvahs, he's doing the Torah, he's doing the things that he's supposed to do. There's an even greater pleasure when a person does his hafcha, when a person transforms, takes the physical and material world and elevates that world itself, brings it to its true source, reveals in it the truth of Elokus that's in it. That's the real purpose of creation. That's the real purpose of everything, that Hashem wants us to make a dira b'tachtainim, to reveal in the physical material world that it's not what it looks like, something that's covering up the truth of godliness, but its true essence is the fact that it's Hashem who created it and that's here in order to serve Hashem. That's the meaning of Shoir Habar, the Shoir, the ox, the king of the animals, and this great big ox, Bar, which is taken in a way of birur, clarifying, revealing the truth in it, refining and elevating the sparks, bringing it to a level where it can connect to its true source. That's one type of avodah. The second type of avodah is Levyasan. That's the sweetness, the spirituality in itself. What's Levyasan? It's a fish. A fish is found inside the ocean. The ocean covers over everything that's inside it. In fact, the idea of the Bruim Shabayam, the creatures that are in the ocean, is that they're connected constantly to their source. They can't leave the water. If they leave the water, they die. Their entire existence is constantly in connection to their source, to the extent that the Gemara tells us. And the halacha is that Bruim Shabayam, a creature of the sea, it's not chaytzitz. From water, it doesn't interrupt. When a person is dipping inside the water, it's considered to be part of the water, because it's totally included in the water, totally is part of the water. Something that you can't say about something that's on the earth. A creature that's on the earth, it's not connected always to the earth, it walks upon the earth. Its existence is one that it shows and feels, I exist as a separate existence. That's called Alma D'Izgalia, the revealed world. A world where an existence feels like I'm an existence on my own. These Bruim Shabayam, the creatures that are in the sea, are called Alma D'Izkasia, the hidden world. The world where everything is covered over by the water, covered over, not just covered over, but totally included and united with its source from which it comes. These are the two types of things. A world that feels I'm an existence on my own, and where the avodah is to take it and show and reveal that in truth its true existence is to serve Hashem. Another world, on the other hand, which feels its true existence and feels how it's totally included in spirituality, and the avodah is just to allow it to feel the spiritual joy and the spiritual energy, which that also gives a energy, a nachas ruach l'mayla. In the time of Mashiach, there'll be this war. Now, the war is more than just, in the simple sense, the idea of the war between good and bad. Each one is going to be trying to show its greatness over the other, to the extent of pulling over the other to its side. And that's why it says the Shoir Abar is going to be menageach. It will gore the Livyasan, Bikarnov, with his horns. The horns of the ox are the most material part of the ox. It's bone. It's something that even while it's connected to the animal, it's called daimim shebechai, the inanimate part of the living creature. It has no life inside it. Those horns, it's using the most coarse, the most material part of it. It uses to gore. That means to try and lift up the Livyasan and show, look, with this I can lift you up, I can elevate you, I can bring you to a higher level. On the other hand, the Livyasan is shoichet. It slaughters the Shoir Abar with its snapirim, with its fins. The fins are what the fish uses in order to swim. The swimming, the power to swim that this fish has is similar to the power to fly that a bird has. When a fish swims, it's able to swim with one quick swim. It can go from one end of the ocean to the other. It can go very quickly, very swiftly. What's that swiftness shows? That it's swift. It doesn't need to go level after level because it's totally spiritual. It goes from one level to the next in a very swift manner. Those snapirim, those fins that cause it to swim, it shechts, slaughters. What does it mean to slaughter? It draws up. Not like the horns that lift up from the bottom. Shchita is to draw higher, try and draw out, to cause a kleisa nefesh, to cause a yearning, a spiritual yearning in the physical and in the material. And that's what it does. And in truth, both things bring out what they can do to the other. Now that we understand the idea of this fight between the Shoir Abar and Livyasan, this is the two types of tzaddikim that there are even now. There's one type of tzaddikim, which is most people, and even tzaddikim, that are at the level of Shoir Abar. They live their existence in the physical world, the material world, where they're struggling with the physical material world. A tzaddik overcomes it. But his avodah, his work, and so also most of us, the work and the mission that we have to do is to deal with the physical world. Comes Shabbos, to eat meat, to eat fish, to drink wine. Comes Yom Tov, to enjoy, to have the pleasure of Yom Tov, to take the physical world and use it in order to serve Hashem, where our entire existence is in the using the physical world. But then there are spiritual tzaddikim, who their existence is in the Alma Deskasi, in the hidden world. Their existence is in a world where they live in spirituality. One of the examples, and we're going to have to continue with this in Mitzvah Hashem next time, but one of the examples is Rav Shimon ben Yochai. The Tzemach Tzedek writes in Ha'ara and Likutei Torah that the Baal Shem Tov was also like that, and the Rebbe brings elsewhere that so also the Alter Rebbe and the Rabbeim that followed are also on that level of Livyasan. Rav Shimon ben Yochai, when he was in the cave for 13 years, he wasn't able to fulfill the mitzvahs of the Torah. He didn't have a lulav and esrog. He didn't have matzah to eat on Pesach. He didn't have meat to eat on Yom Tov. Couldn't even build himself a sukkah, etc. He couldn't. Oynes Rachmana Patre. His life was in danger. He was running away for his life, and therefore he couldn't do it. But it's impossible to say that someone like Rav Shimon ben Yochai was missing and lacking from a mitzvah that he was supposed to be doing, and that he wasn't doing it. And the Alter Rebbe explains now, Rav Shimon ben Yochai is a neshama that doesn't need the physical world in order to get him to where he needs to get. When he can, he has to do the mitzvahs because he's a Jew. A Jew is obligated. You can't make these calculations. But if he's not able to, and the Torah exempts him for it, he's also not lacking it. Someone else, even if he's exempt from it, he's lacking it. His neshama isn't reaching where it's supposed to reach. By him, he wasn't missing it. He didn't need it. He reached all these levels through the spiritual involvement. That's the level of Lev Yassan. And the Mitzvah Hashem will continue with that next time.